We record right now?
Yeah.
Cool.
We don't have to keep it in.
It's up to you.
We're just
So what I do is, man, I'll tell you, like, I don't know how to do shit on this stuff. What I do is I hit record.
Yeah.
I hit stop and I load that.
Yeah. And that's
I don't even know how,
awesome.
dude, I don't even have an editor.
Yeah. No, I know.
The thing is, dude, is because I'm the biggest creature of habit.
Yeah.
That I don't really want to learn, and I hate technology. So it's, of course, it's a YouTube fucking research away to learn. I just hate that crap. But I do want to learn the editing just because there's a lot of lines I use.
Yeah.
To where, like, influenced by a movie or it came from a movie, that I want to insert that clip. You know?
Oh, totally. Yeah. If you're saying cool. Predator or something,
that's actually one of them.
Dylan, son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I want to insert shit like that because I think it's spice of the videos.
Totally. Well, and there's probably dudes who like don't get it.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
100%. Dude, it blows my mind. Like, one of the main references I use that fits the bill and a lot of shit. I'm like, dude, I didn't make that up. That's from that Joe Mushroom Head prank call. Do you know that Black Metal Joe prank call? There's people that to this day, even actually my good friend Brian Woody, he's from Cleveland. Okay. He never even heard it. And
I'm a bad motherfucker,
and it's
Joe.
The funny thing is, I was like, how have you never heard this, dude? Brian Woody, he was roommates with Jim Sadis, Jim Kanye, and Unsolved. They were roommates. That's how I met Woody. Okay. Jim's the one that sent me and my brothers that video. Okay. And it wasn't a video, it was just audio at the time. We were laughing. So about 6 months ago or so, it got brought up, me and Woody were texting, and he didn't even know about it. I'm like, okay, what? Like, how do you, like, so then when I put that, I was like, oh, well, dude, if you don't know about it, half these people that watch my channel don't know about it.
Totally.
And a lot of movie references I say, I know it goes over people's heads all the time.
The call is legendary. We send Joe Offrick shit back and forth to each other all the time. Me and my friends. You know, I mean, if we're hanging out, it could spontaneously go into horny with the chick. You know, I mean, like, whatever.
Dude, I forgot all about that. Yeah, singing their horny with the chick.
Oh, I mean, it's like the most, like,
it's ridiculous.
Level 10 autism, just hilarious.
Dude, you know, I'll tell you, it's funny, Joe Offrick's story. I don't know if I told it on camera or not. I might not have. The first time I met this guy. Now, I've always seen him at shows from years, and you're like, oh, I just see this older guy, and you're like, oh, that's the Satanic kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, whatever, cool. He comes up to me. It was, I think we were distroing, or maybe Chuck was distroing for us, and I was just looking at the bin. This is a few years ago, and he walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, and keep in mind, I never talked to this guy.
Yeah,
Hey, does it take steroids to look like that?" And I'm just like, I'm like, dude, let me give you a piece of advice. You don't walk up to a stranger and ask that. I literally know guys in the bodybuilding world, they would knock your fucking teeth out, literally, for walking up and asking a stranger like that. You just don't say that. Yeah. It's just the fact that he's just so out there gone that he didn't even think. And it's not like he's a kid. He's like 6 years old.
But
I'm just like, dude, don't go up to a stranger and ask that. Get to know him first, and then that's the first thing you ask before even asking their name.
Yeah. I mean, definitely autism level. Fucking hilarious, dude. I hope I could sit down with him at some point.
You might be able to. My brother Craig, when he was doing the Hellcast, he did an interview with him. Okay. It was over the phone or something.
Yeah, I mean, I see people, I think fucking, the kid, Alex, Goatman, dude, they went over to his house for some reason to buy.
I think he said he bought some demos or something off. Yeah.
So that would be legendary.
I don't see, dude, I can't imagine the guy's busy. From what I understand, he doesn't even have a job. Like, he has disability.
No.
So he has all the time in the world.
Yeah.
So why would he say no?
So, what a great way to start with our love for Joe Offrick. Shout out to Joe Offrick.
I don't even know the guy. Dude, I only met him like a half a second after that. I don't have anything bad about him to say, and I don't have anything good. I just don't know him. I just know him from the Black Metal Joe phone call.
He fucking,
I thought it was hilarious.
We threw a gig. So I used to have, my buddy used to have a house on the east side. We threw a gig at, it was HOD from Texas.
Yeah.
Abysmal Lord. Yeah, so he's at that gig. He brings his video camera. He's like, oh, I'm going to film the show for you guys. He gives us the tape back. It's nothing but just the asses of the girl in the audience. He didn't film the band for a second. He gives it to us like we're going to be stoked on it. And it's like, it's free on the internet, dude. You don't need to go risk your freedom to film girls in public.
Dude, I find that to be the weirdest thing ever. Like, just for example, like, part of the reason I brought my wife on the channel a few times is because I was like, oh, I know if they see a female, it's going to get more views. And they would. They did. By far, like, for example, like, now she stopped coming out. She's like, I'm tired of hearing these retards in the comments. Me, I was like, because I don't give a fuck. Yeah. But they say she's a girl. She doesn't like hearing stuff about it. But it's funny. I was like, dude, you realize like porn, literally fucking porn is free.
That's what.
Why are you excited? Or, for example, bands with a female fronted singer. Sometimes it gets popular because I told the Arch Enemy story, dude. Mm-hmm. I saw Arch Enemy for the first time. It was in 1999, The Flying Machine.
Okay.
It was the original singer, I think Johan or something, because I like the first 3 Arch Enemy albums.
Okay.
And
I'm surprised to hear that from you, but keep going.
Yeah, most people are.
Yeah.
I like the early ones, and then when that album Wages of Sin, it was the first female singer.
Okay.
I didn't really like it, but I don't think it's terrible anyways. I was like, it's just a commercial melodic metal record. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I saw him on that tour too. Keep in mind, it's like 2 years later. It's like, I think that was 2001.
Yeah.
That's with the chick singer. Dude, it was at the Agora, and it was packed to the gills.
Yeah.
Flying Machine, I'm not even joking, dude. There was maybe 30 people there. That's where I met Michael Lamont and shit.
Okay.
From Kirkus.
Cool. And a legend.
I knew, but it was easy to meet because there was nobody there.
Awesome.
And 2 years later, now they got a chick singing. They blow the fuck up. I'm like, again, I guess genius marketing move. I was like, you guys are that excited to see a girl like you never seen tits? I'm like, it's online for free. Like, why do you need a band or a YouTube video for that? Or people that buy like OnlyFans for girls. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, even if she is full blown having sex on there, you can get it for free. I don't.
Or you could go meet a real girl. Right, I see, but that is beyond.
Yeah, do you meet some of these people? So, I mean, some of them, it's like, dude, I'm shocked they know how to tie the shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I could see why they're not getting pussy.
Definitely.
Yeah, then there's some guys I meet, I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure there's no chick on earth that will let you stick your dick in her. That's a lot of the people in the scene.
It's totally true.
Yep.
And I love that you are not afraid to call that out.
You know what's funny is I thought, so when I was doing the channel, which I wasn't even my idea to do, people were telling me to do it, especially when I was helping Craig do the Hellcast, which was our podcast, and then he kind of took it and ran off with it. And
okay.
Like, all right, it's not really what it was set up for. It's called Hellcast after Hells Headbangers thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. Not even going to get an argument about it. Just whatever. Do what you want to do. And when I went on there, people wanted me to start my own channel, and I did. So I just ran with talking the way that I knew in the scene, because I said I've growing up with Jim and Don primarily. That's the way they talked. You just kind of busted balls. You made fun of the bands that you didn't like and that they liked. If they didn't like a band, like they'd rip on me for like it. Because for example, they don't like the '90s stuff. They think Cannibal and Deicide. That's like stupid.
Okay.
You know what I mean, that they like '80s shit. You know what I mean? So Jim, I'd be like, yeah, dude, you like fucking Monstrosity. Oh, the demos were great. Well, you didn't like the album. Ah, dude, it sucked.
Yeah.
What do you mean it sucked? But that was how we talked.
Yeah.
So when I started the channel, I legitimately thought that's how everybody in the metal scene kind of talked amongst your peers and buddies.
100%.
So to me, I was just like, I'm not even doing anything. I was like, I just figured, because I didn't watch any other metal YouTube channels.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any, like none. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, that's just what everybody's doing. And then I find out it's not. And I'm like, oh, I thought that was just the norm.
So I was the same way. One time my band was playing, this is all the way back 2014. We're playing in Canada, and we're a grindcore band. So I said something along the lines of, get up, you guys look like faggots to the audience.
Yeah.
Never even crossed my mind that someone would like take that as I'm trying to hurt them, or I'm trying, like, it's just funny. Like, in other words,
totally.
It's wrestlers. There's Machismo. It was hilarious. So they start throwing beers at us while we're playing, we're packed in the house, and I'm thinking, oh, they love it. It's rowdy. You know what I mean? 30 seconds later, they pull the plug. They're like, your set's done because you said that. You know what's funny about that? That just shows the wimpification of the nation. Yeah. And that wimpification has spilled into our metal scene, which it never should have. And I'll give you 2 examples, and these are verifiable. Yeah. I can't recall. If I need to dig it up, I will, because I own it. There's a Slayer. I'm a big bootleg collector. Yeah. I love bootlegs. Yeah. And I own a bunch of, if it's Rain and Blood Down, I love those Slayer bootlegs, especially if they're a decent sounding, even if it's a decent sounding show. It doesn't have to be a great sounding Hilarious show. Banter too.
Correct. Especially when Tom's drunk. And one of them on one of the shows, I own the LP. So if you don't believe me, I could dig it up, tell you the title, and you can go Discogs it, motherfucker, because it's limited stuff. He literally says something because the crowd's like, bunch of fucking faggots back there. Yeah. So Slayer, who you think the other says that, it's on recording. I have it. Well, and furthermore, another example, which is verifiable, and it's an official release, which I want to do a vinyl for, and I said it on Lividity. Okay. Listen to Lividity, Show Us Her Tits, which is one of my favorite live death metal recordings ever. Part of it's because the stage banner. And he goes like, man, bunch of fags around here. You guys, your ladies must be unhappy. He's calling them fags. Left and right, like, thrown out. Like, when that came out, people in the scene, nobody thought anything of it. Like, yeah,
that's what it took.
It's because the wimps are spilling in the scene, dude, and people are allowing them in. Like, dude, back in the day, too, at that same time when that video, this is in 99, 2000, 2001. I know, I was there. I seen it. You realize Anal Blast had a shirt. It had a logo, and it said, "At least I'm not gay" on it. That was the slogan. Corpse Gristle Records had the shirts, "No gay black metal."
Yeah.
That was normal. To see that walking around at a show was normal. You saw it every show.
100%.
Now, it's, again, you're letting all these wimps in, and the problem is that this was a form of music that's supposed to be fueled on testosterone and rebellious and misfits, and we were supposed to be outcasts. Now you're letting all these normies and shit in. If you want to come in, that's fine, but don't be trying to call the shots.
I completely agree. I'm so glad you got to that. I had this all written down, and I didn't even have to fucking ask. We just got straight into it. Even better. But I totally agree, because that's what I wanted to ask is, when I got into it, that's how I perceived it.
Yeah.
This is machismo. This is testosterone.
Yeah.
This is for misfits. This is for outcasts. Would you say it's inherently, I would say it's inherently blue collar, working class music?
Yeah.
Because I think from my perspective, and tell me what you think about this, there's an element of you're not trained as a musician.
Yeah.
Typically. This isn't like I went to school.
Says he didn't. For drummer for Cannibal Corpse, I forget his story. He's like, I was self-taught. I guess he plays so unconventional, it's not even funny.
You see it actually in if you're watching, it's either Centuries of Torment. It's the making of one of them where he goes.
He says it on there, yeah.
In Evisceration Plague, I think, which is 2006, mind you.
Yeah.
He goes, I just started playing to a metronome.
Yeah.
So,
because he's just like,
20 years into their careers when he started practicing to a metronome.
Yeah, he said he just kind of was doing it like what he felt comfortable. He's like, but you're like, that's not how you're supposed to do it.
Well, and you can even hear it even on Hammer Smash Face. There's a part where he does this fill.
It's funny you said it, because I was recently going to talk about that album or whatever, because I tried to interview Chris Barnes up here, and they said they're not doing any interviews on tour. I'm like, oh, fuck. I was like, I'll offer to fly out to him. Whatever. That's not the point. But I was going to bring up, because and it's not to suck dick. It's like, I truly mean it. I've always said, I think Tomb of the Mutilated is the greatest death metal record of all time. And part of it is the vocals, everything about it. And I love how the blasts sound on it, because it has its own identity.
100%.
A lot of bands, like, yeah, this is very, very fast. He's a good drummer. I was like, but it blends in. Like, I can't tell apart. There's certain blast 100%. Drums I could tell apart. Tomb of the Mutilated's one. The early Sinisters with the AAD, what the fuck his name is. He had a drum sound, a blast sound, like, you could tell. That's the second drummer, whoever plays the drummer on, forget his goddamn name, but he plays on Immolation for Close to World Below and Failures for Gods. His drum sound on that, I was like, it's identifiable. I was
about to bring that up with Immolation.
Yeah.
Because Immolation has that.
It just has a sound.
Because it's not like it's almost like not in a time signature. Mm-hmm. And I didn't notice this, or I didn't really think about it till there's one day I'm just chilling in the embalmer dude's room, and I'm seeing it, and they'll have a riff where it's not right. It's not in for it. There's an extra couple notes or something. And that's just part of it being an organic thing made by people that are untrained. And that's what's awesome. That's how you can tell it has that.
That's what gives it character. Otherwise, it sounds like a machine made it. It sounds like computeristic.
Totally.
And it loses all the feeling. And I don't understand, especially with bands like the bigger bands. And I say bigger bands because they've been around a longer time. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about Exhumed, Cannibal, Dying Feast. It doesn't matter who you're talking about, black metal, whatever. I'm like, all these guys I know for a fact, because I've met them all, talked to them all, some I'm friends with. Your favorite albums are Sodom Obsessed by Cruelty, Possessed, Seven Churches, even the Misfits. Primitive shit that has, it's very amateurish, the way it's played.
Yeah.
Those are your favorite albums.
100%.
But you're trying to perfect the living shit out of your stuff. So if you uniformly agree the best stuff is this primitive stuff, why are you perfecting yours? That doesn't make any sense to me. Just like when Exhumed re-recorded gore metal, and I could say it publicly, I told Matt Harvey to his face. I think I even told him on interview.
Sure.
You didn't need to re-record gore metal, dude. I was like, it sounded phenomenal because he didn't like how it sounded.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's literally like, you would say the same if Jeff Becerra was like, we were recording Seven Churches. You'd be like, no way, bro. That sounds great.
Mm-hmm. Is that how you felt about the Sepultura ones?
You know, what's funny is that is what I thought when they did them. But when I heard them, I was like, these are actually pretty good.
I actually haven't listened to them. So do you feel like they did them justice?
Yeah. Now, granted, am I going to buy them or something? No, because I'll just resort to listening to the originals anyways.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that I'm like, oh, this doesn't suck. Mm-hmm. He even tried to sing like he did back then.
Okay.
Like he wasn't singing like roots. I'm like, dude, come on, this is bad. If you're trying to do that, like it did do it justice. But the way I would have released it, I think the most justifiable way to do it, if you were going to do it, is Exhumed did do it with gore metal, and Malignancy did it with Intruder and Cannibalism. Again, another record. I told Danny Nelson to his face on camera, completely unnecessary to re-record it. But when they did do it, they only released it as a double disc. You got the original and you got the re-recorded.
It was put out as like a reissue.
So I think that's the most respectable way to do it.
Okay.
Because at least you could, and plus, as a new fan, if they pick them up, they can listen to. They at least have the option to hear both.
And I agree that once you're thinking like that as a band that's touring now, if you're trying to get a new audience, that is a barrier of entry. Is the recording quality because to hear, I know you see a lot of kids now, hardcore adjacent death metal bands, death metal revival bands. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to be listening to Recaputrefaction.
No.
You know what I mean? Like it's a big barrier of entry because they're going to hear something like deathcore.
Yeah. Something
like that. Yeah. And then it's for what they have now, maggot stomp stuff or whatever. It's not too much of a stretch from that. Mm-hmm. And then, so I get it if they want to do that. If that turns people on to Sepultura, schizophrenia, cool.
No,
but I agree that, and that's what I wanted. That's what I really wanted to get at here. And again, I'm glad we got right into it. When you're talking about having the kids come in and you're saying, hey, this was the code of conduct when we had original gigs. Dudes were busting each other's balls. It's dudes hanging out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like I said, same thing with me. When I was a dude growing up with other dudes, you bust each other's balls.
Yeah.
And you talk shit.
Yeah. Plus, you gotta remember, I grew up with I have 5 brothers.
And we're gonna get into that for sure.
Maybe that's
the same thing.
So I try to a big thing I do, whether people realize or not, and it might surprise a lot of people, is I try to play devil's advocate. For example, I don't follow politics at all. Yeah. But if the topic does come up, I try to look at both sides and see where they're coming from on both sides.
Me too.
Because usually in most things, there's nothing on the left, nothing on the right. It's in the middle.
I completely agree.
So I try to fall in the middle. So when they're saying this, I try to somewhat understand where they're coming from. I'm like, well, maybe it's because I grew up with 5 brothers. Maybe they're an only child and they don't realize this is how you're supposed to talk.
I appreciate that.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I get attacked in my comments, which is great because the more comments, it just leads the algorithm.
Yeah.
People accuse me of deleting comments. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Why the fuck would I do that? I was like, you're only helping me.
Yeah.
So number one, you're an idiot. And number two, but when they come and attack me in the comments about, hey, you said this or whatever, I'm like, again, I'm trying to sympathize and being like, maybe they don't understand they didn't grow up that way. I was like, but number one, it's free entertainment. So if you don't like it, change the fucking channel instead of bitching. Number fucking two, I've already clarified it many times, as little as 5 times, possibly as many as 10, that I'm primarily fucking around and it's for entertainment.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not even like it's this ongoing thing where you're like, for example, like if you're trying to critique like Dawg from Burzum and you're like, his stance on whatever, I don't agree with it. He's never clarified, said, hey, I'm not. It's just left out in the air. I've clarified what my stance is.
Oh, yeah.
If you're too fucking stupid after that, you still get upset because they do.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, every day you can almost for sure. Some of the comments, dude, I can't believe you think this or said that. I'm like,
change the fucking channel if you got a problem.
Change the channel. And again, I've already clarified it.
So I think that's important that's what I want to hone in on. And we'll go a little deeper with that. We'll cycle back to this. I just want to hone in on contextualizing your viewpoint. Mm-hmm. In a minute, I would like you to start from the very beginning and just explain for the people. My goal here is for the people that, you have your fans that watch your channel and they're into what you're saying. They already know your background.
Not all.
Not the entire. You'd
be surprised, dude.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Like some people, I'm just like, I don't even know why you're watching me. Because it's like number one, it's like, I'm pretty sure you never placed an order for Hells Headbangers. You don't know who Hells Headbangers is. You don't know who I am. And you're clearly getting pissed off by the comments I'm making. why you even I don't understand. Like, why are you watching?
And that blows my mind that they would even try
to. Like, because I personally, that's like me being like, I've never played golf. I have no interest in playing golf. I don't want to play golf. That's like me going to watch Tiger Woods if he had a YouTube channel and talking shit and getting mad.
Yeah.
Why? I don't. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No dog in the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's some, and then there's people. There's a lot of screenshots where because you have a very sensationalist, attention-getting titles.
Yeah.
Wimp, Twincore. I love Twincore.
Yeah. I'm actually pretty proud of that one too because I just came off the cuff. And I realized I said it, and I was thinking, I'm like, because a lot of stuff I do say, for example, down with the devil or darkness and evil. Again, that came from the Joan Call. That's not me. A lot of the stuff where people are like, oh, dog, so hilarious. And I'm like, well, thanks. But I was like, that's not my line. Twincore is my line. And I'm thinking like, I was like, did I pick that up from anybody and slipped out? I was like, fuck, that's all me. I was like, I've never heard anyone, because I couldn't think of anyone else that said it.
Yeah.
Now people say it.
So you're proud of Twincore.
Yeah, because that's actually my creation. A lot of them that people like, I'm flattered, but I was like, I didn't make that up.
Yeah.
Or it was a story that Jim said. It was a story that, for example, the Sup Devils. I didn't make that up.
Was that Jim?
It was Jim. He's during Spawn of Satan. That's how he is. How's it going, Devils?
Okay.
Devils, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and if you're actually not a fucking poser and you listen to Spawn of Satan, which is fantastic, there's a double disc discography that was put out with Reaper Metal Records. We're sold out now. We're supposed to be getting the last of them. So check out Hells Headbangers. Spawn of Satan was if you know the history, talking about going to bed, Spawn of Satan was the first release Hells Headbangers ever put out.
Okay.
It was a split CD, Spawn of Satan and Bloodsick. Bloodsick was Soulless.
Okay.
So Jim Lapucci sings on it.
Okay.
The Bloodsick stuff's pretty good too. It's pretty good thrash. It's not great, but it's good.
Yeah.
But the Spawn of Satan's awesome. It's got the Dr. Claw fucking vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome death thrash. And I've seen Spawn of Satan, the first show, others, and there's that split with Nunslaughter live CD. I was at that show. All the shit I was at. That's what Jim said.
Sup Devils.
Yeah. And that's where I got it from. And it was in homage number 1. I thought it says, hey guys, instead of saying it like that.
Yeah.
Which everybody does. And it was paying homage to Jim because he was like my best friends. And without him or Don, Hells Headbangers wouldn't exist. Spawn of Satan, like I said, Jim came up to us. Hey, do you want to? We were just doing this as a distro to sell. We started Hells Headbangers to sell the CDs and records that we bought for our collection. That you're like, oh man, this one sucked. How do you get rid of it?
Yeah.
So we started a website because we were just selling it. It's like, because it's not a used condition. We wouldn't even touch the fucking booklets and shit with our hands.
You got the gloves on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a pristine condition. Like if it had a nick on it, didn't even want it. So it was a perfect condition still.
Yeah.
So resell. So we started a website for that, and it built up. Then we started wholesaling stuff. Like, well, hey, we're all buying the new Exhumed album, so we're buying 3 already as is. Me, Eric, and Chase. Why don't we just ask for a wholesale rate, buy 5 or 6, get them all at $8, so we each get our own for 8 instead of 12, and then sell the rest on the sites. That's how the business started. Jim, for whatever reason, thought in his mind, do a label.
Yeah.
Or maybe he thought we're trying to start. Maybe he didn't understand the business. It's probably the most likely.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys want to put my CD out? I don't know. We don't want to do that. He explained it to us, how much it costs, where to go. Oh, sure, we could do that.
Yeah.
And then from there, he introduced us to Don, and our first vinyl release ever was Nunslaughter, Sentinex from Sweden, split 7-inch.
Okay.
Without them, Hells Headbangers wouldn't exist. And I fully am appreciative of that, and I always say that, and I have no problem saying, hey, we wouldn't exist. I don't have an ego. I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any problem saying it. So if I could pay homage, especially for the guys dead, in my own way, then that's what I will, and that's what I did. You know what I mean? And a lot of the lines, a lot of shit I say and stuff like that was from me and Jim argument conversations, just having fun.
Awesome.
That people will never know about.
Yeah.
So that's why, but Twincore, that's all me. You know what I mean?
So you should be proud of Twincore.
Yeah. There's a few others. I forget what one of the ones. I was like, oh, I actually did make that one up.
And that's great. We got into that because that's what I wanted to do from the beginning. Just for people, like I've been around, I've been in metal bands. I live here. I actually grew up right here in Brunswick.
Oh, cool. Right, I grew up in Medina. Well, I was born in Cleveland, but we moved out in Medina.
That was my first question.
Yeah.
Okay.
On River Styx Road.
Okay, over on River Styx.
And it's funny, that's when I first met Jim. Again, we saw him at shows. We always saw the guy with the red pants and knew who he was. Yeah. But he officially came up to us, I think in 99 or 2000, and he asked where you live. Oh, we live in Medina. Oh, shit, okay. He's like, I make deliveries and stuff in the Medina. He's like, what part of area? He's like, oh, we're on River Styx Road. He's like, River Styx, cross the sticks. And I was like, oh, you like Sinister? Just the first record. I'm like, yeah. What? This is when I first met. I'm like, well, wait a minute, you don't like Diabolical Summoning? Not really.
Okay.
I like the demos of first album. I'm like, the fuck? That was my first introduction to that shit. And then
so you're talking to the demo only mentality?
Yeah. I never heard this stuff.
I wanted to, and I definitely wanted to get into that with you. Okay. And it's funny to have you say, here's it, because I think to most people it's like, that's what you're king gatekeeper.
Exactly. No. That's why I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, dude, back then they considered me like, dude, you like even Craig, my brother, younger brother.
Yeah.
Because he's way picky too. He barely even likes death metal.
Yeah.
He likes more like thrash and shit like that. Okay. He used to say, he's like, but dude, you like fucking everything. Yeah. That's what he'd say for me. Mm-hmm. So people that I'm a gatekeeper, I'm like, I was pretty loose, dude. I mean, like, again, Jim, he likes Cross the Sticks and the demos and the 7-inch by the Sinister only. Not even the second album, which mind you, Diabolical Summoning, the second album, that's my favorite album. Mm-hmm. And I go all the way up to the first Chick album, Creating Killings, which that's to be their 6th record. Mm-hmm. I like the first 6 fucking records. But what do you mean, like demo only? I mean, and some of the shit that people say, you like demo only, I'm like, well, yeah, dude, because after the demo, they drastically changed. I'm like, it's not, it's like, that's, I mean, I can't think of who off the top of my head, but
I saw that and I was thinking about this because I'm watching you hanging out with Don and Scott and with your brothers. And they're talking about, because I thought,
you're talking about the Don, my brothers, and Athnar one.
Yeah, excuse me. Because I'm thinking, because to me, I'm like, when I think, I'm like, Altars of Madness is way heavier than Abomination, or it's way faster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever. So I'm thinking, I go, what is their reasoning behind saying, oh, I'm only Abominations of Desolation? And I go, my assumption was, I think that they just have they have memories attached to it or something.
I know what the reason is, if you want to know. Did I ever tell you? I mean,
go on, why don't I explain it? Explain it.
So we'll propose, I can't speak for Jim because he died before and he had the same mentality. He didn't like Altars as well.
Okay.
Other than he just said, Pete is Terrorizer's drummer, not Morbid Angels. He kind of just left it at that. And he said when Terrorizer World Downfall came out, it's like, I stopped practicing drums. So there's no reason to practice. You're not getting any better than that. It's like, well, you can still get better.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, that's him kind of saying that sarcastically.
I get it. But he's a drummer. But exactly. If someone doesn't know, this is from the perspective of a drummer.
It's funny. Don told me, actually, this is in recent times. I think I said on the channel, and I was like, I actually never thought about that. That's actually a pretty good point. Granted, you're still allowed to like shit. He said the reason he didn't like Altars of Madness, he's like, it has blast beats on it, dude. He's like, death metal, Morbid Angel's a death metal band. He's like, death metal does not have blast beats. And I'm thinking, he's like, think about it. He's like, blast beats are for grindcore. Napalm Death Scum, Carcass Recapitulation, Terrorizer World Downfall. He's like, all grindcore. He's like, death metal at the time was Possessed, Death, Necrovore, Slaughterlord.
Autopsy.
Autopsy, Obituary. He's like, none of that has blast beats.
And that's true.
And I was like, he's like, even Morbid Angel, Abomination, there's not blast beats. He's like, blast beats is not death metal. Blast beats is grindcore. He's like, so yes, Altars of Madness is technically a good album and a more talented record, but they have a grindcore drummer and a grindcore bass player now too. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, this is not Morbid Angel. He's like, I had Morbid Angel, the demo, the Abominations, like, and then I get this shit.
But they're listening to it. The other key part of that, they're listening to it at the time.
Yeah.
These are older guys.
He's like, these kids, he's like, they don't understand. He's like, they think they know what death metal is. He's like, they don't.
I get that. That is now, 30 years later, a very pure stance.
Yeah.
To say that, because now, you know what I mean, blast beats, or people would associate that with death metal.
Yeah.
I understand that. You know what I mean? I come from a lineage of grindcore.
Yeah.
That's all grindcore. It's blast beats and sometimes a D beat, sometimes a whatever, but it's blast beats.
Thing is, but what I think they get a little picky with that, and guys do it with black metal especially, probably that's the most as far as a whole now, is, okay, whatever. If you want to call a 90s death metal album, even just say Tomb of the Mutilated, because it has blast beats. If you want to call it grindcore, you want to give it a different name, then do that. You're literally saying it sucks because it has a title death metal on it, because it has just say blast beats. Is reason.
I get it.
That's dumb though. Like, you're dismissing liking something based off just a genre name. Okay, call it whatever you need to make it yourself comfortable then.
Yeah.
But if you legitimately don't like it when you put it on, fair enough. Like, I don't all the deathcore and newcore and twink, whatever the fuck that shit is called.
Yeah.
I don't try not to like it because it has that title. It's just, I have yet to date hear something I like. I was like, it sounds like shit. The drums sound like shit. I hate the clean vocals. It's literally just it's the tough guy Phil Anselmo on steroid type vocals.
Yeah. Where
it's like, it's not brutal. It's kind of cheesy / they're just trying to play a more extreme version of Pantera. Everything. Well, from what I've heard, and I can't say I've heard everything. I was like, it just sounds bad to me.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a clean. I was like, and it's all like it's on like a timer. I was like, it goes to that, the tough guy, rah, 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 and then the clean part. I'm like, this is just, I was like, this is just giving me a headache. This is just bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if there's something out there I haven't heard, and I'm like, wow, this is actually really good, I would admit it. I have no problem admitting it. I was like, but to date, I haven't heard anything I like.
Sure. And I can find appreciation in it as a recording engineer. I understand what they're going for, but it just is completely withdrawn from what we're talking about, especially once you get into, we're talking about, you're running with guys that are saying, Two of the Mutilated wouldn't even be a death metal record.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's it's definitely not a fucking grindcore record, dude. You know what I mean? Like, there's grindcore is like, I love the classic grindcore, but grindcore is like, leftist politics. It's a different aesthetic. It's a different thing, 100%. And that's I like the bands that mix the middle. I was thinking when I came in, one of my favorites. You ever hear Immortal Fate?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I just listened to that. You got
that beautiful LP.
I think it was a CD actually. I thought okay. So one of those things I knew the name, and I saw this came in. I put it on the play. It's like, but recently, I mean, I've always known the name, but as far as recently listening to it, listen shot maybe 5 months ago or something like that.
Okay. Crazy, but death grind. You know what I mean? I love that old school death grind sound. That's where I love that. But I get, you know what I mean? Mix it. Everyone has their own preferences. And that's what I wanted to get into is, and you covered that a bit, because you're saying that's what I think would be important for people who don't get it. Because there's going to be, I'm trying to think of, there's kids who see your channel and they're like, I don't understand the rules. They're like, I don't, like, what is like, and it's like, no, you go talk to a guy, he'll tell you, no, Campbell, that's not even pure death metal.
You know, pure death that's what kind of annoys me too, and that's where my mindset is, and again, maybe that is a bit gatekeepish to say this, is if you're confused by what I'm saying, a lot of stuff like, and if you want to call it the gatekeeping mentality, to me, you probably don't belong in the scene. Now, I'll explain what I mean by that is because it doesn't mean you have to agree with it. I'm saying if you don't understand it. Because, when I met King Folly, dude, he was terrible too, dude. He didn't like anything. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy doesn't like anything.
Yeah.
And I'm 15, 16. Nobody explained it to me.
Okay.
But when they said it, yes, I didn't agree with them. I didn't agree with those opinions. I didn't agree with Altars of Madness sucks.
Yeah.
But when they said it, just judging by their age, when they got into death metal music, I was like, I understood where they were coming from. I was like, I know why he thinks that. I was like, I don't agree, but I know why that's his mentality. If you're completely clueless as to why I don't like fucking, I don't know who's a band I rip on regularly, some newer band.
Sanguisugabug.
Yeah. If you're completely oblivious as to why I think you like that and you don't like Deicide is just asinine to me. It just screams you're 19 years old or younger. If you don't understand that, again, you don't agree with it. You can think that's my favorite band of all time. That's fine. But if you don't understand why I think that Deicide's a more important band, if you're just completely oblivious, in my opinion, you probably don't belong in death metal. Because you don't have the mentality for it. Like, you should at least be like, I know why he's saying that.
That's what I wanted to hone in on, because I really don't care. You know what I mean? If dudes now, they want to go and they want to do this stuff, deathcore stuff, they call it death metal, hardcore adjacent death metal, whatever you want to call it, that's going on now. Or, you know what I mean? I'm not going to stop them. You can't stop them. Yeah. And I think when they do that, I hope that Deicide, bands that are still around that have legacy bands, I hope they get new fans from it. I hope Sepultura gets new fans. I hope they can make a living doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if that's a kid, but whatever. But that's what I think is so important. That was the first thing we talked in on, is you got to understand, I don't even care if, it's not even about you complying with it, this code of conduct. It's not about complying, but just understand that that's what you're walking into. You're walking into, this is where working class dudes who hang out, who like this shit, are going in, and we're going to be busting each other's balls.
Yeah.
And that's, if you want to go do that and you want to have your friends over here segregated or whatever, because you literally can't handle that. You can't handle getting your balls busted.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. I'm not going to, I don't give a shit what you're doing. Because I'm not paying attention to you.
Yeah.
You can do whatever. But know that you're coming into someone else's, this is what's hilarious about it. It's ironic. you're coming into someone else's space,
yeah,
policing how they're going about it, while complaining, while telling everyone else how you're so smart for making spaces inclusive and accessible. And it's like, really, you're the colonizer you're talking about or whatever.
Yeah.
Where you're coming into other people's space. And it's like, this has been going on for, when were those dudes doing that?
Oh,
86?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
86 now we're talking. My cousin was in a band, Rancid Decay, who played, that was like 86 they were playing with Death or whatever. So all I mean is, this isn't new. That's 40 years ago at this point. 39 years ago.
Yeah.
So just know that, and this is why people like you have a channel and people like you have a following, because these people are coming in and I feel like they're making your perspective underrepresented.
Yeah. And again, but the thing is the ones that do that too, is I think that their opinion's kind of irrelevant, because the ones that don't, I'm like, you're just young. And not that the thing is, people think that I hate the youth and get out of the scene. No, I actually welcome it, because that's what's going to keep the scene alive. It's just, don't come in here calling the shots.
100%.
You don't get to call the shots that we got from a guy that's 20 years in it before you. That's why I never corrected my elders.
Yeah.
Whether Dwayne Morris, another one who he was kind of falling out of death metal because he thought it was cheesy. He was getting more into black metal.
Yeah.
I never corrected those guys. I'm like, he was going to shows in '88. I was 3 years old. I'm like, I don't get to correct him.
Okay.
Like, and I knew that. I knew my stance. I knew my position. I never. They come in here and try to correct me. I'm like, dude, you just started listening to the fucking shit on YouTube in 2017.
Yeah.
You don't get to fucking tell me shit. Because as far as I'm concerned, you don't know shit. And again, I said the litmus test, there's an extremely good chance we're in the year 2025 and the year 2030, which is going to be here like that. You're not even listening to shit anymore.
Totally.
And I'll still be here literally releasing this stuff.
Totally.
So quite frankly, fuck off and comment on somewhere else, because you're not going to be here anyways. And that's why I don't think their opinion is relevant. That sounds dickish as fuck, but you haven't earned your stripes.
No,
that's like the goddamn guy that goes in the army and he tells the drill sergeant like what to do. No, motherfucker. You take the orders, you listen. You're allowed to disagree and establish your own opinion, but you keep it to yourself and shut the fuck up. And then when you're 20 years in, you can make your own channel and say whatever the fuck you want.
100%.
Just like, again, if you're 16 and you want to start a YouTube channel, go ahead. But it blows my mind why anyone would even watch that.
Sure. Yeah, I just don't. I'm not going to be watching it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be fucking getting hemorrhoids at whatever the fuck you're saying. I disagree with, because I'm not going to hear it.
Yeah, it could be like, and the thing is, it could be by someone, maybe some 16-year-old. I was like, I met the kid, I really like him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't need his opinion on anything. Well, your opinion means I'm old enough to be your dad. Your opinion means nothing to me.
Sure. And even whatever, I don't need to, if I get a record, I don't need to look up how JDAWG felt about it for me to like it.
That blows my mind too, dude. And people think that I'm the be all end all. It's like, dude, I don't even know. You put this mind, like, because most people watching, obviously I've met some of them, but vast majority not.
Yeah.
I was like, you're literally deciphering your opinion on a complete stranger who you've never met.
Who you don't even know. You don't even know the story of. And that's what I want to get just real quick. Could you just explain, for just, if they haven't, whatever, you grew up in a house with your 3 brothers. 5?
Well, the 3. So me, Eric, and Chase own Hells Headbangers. Craig's the brother that's younger than me. So I'm the youngest out of the 3 that
you're born in 85.
Yeah. Then our 2 oldest brothers, they're not in the metal at all.
Okay.
Then we have a sister as well. She's the youngest. So I have 6 siblings.
Okay. Yeah. And explain that, because again, the people, us here, we come to know that just because it's what's going on. You know what I mean? But for the people who don't know that, they might not know that. So you guys, you were a big family, and you already explained, I like that. The 3 of you, you know what I mean? You're just, all 3 of you diehard collectors. Was that, were your parents supportive of it, or was it,
So, I mean, I guess it depends on what your definition of supportive is. And, it's funny is questions like this is, I am very curious. Got a little bit of info out of them on the 3-way we did, me, Eric, and Chase. Some of these questions I hate answering, because I feel like that they're gonna be like, dude, what a fucking dick. They were this. He said it's this. It's all your perspective, right?
Oh yeah.
So in my outlook, our parents, I don't think they were supportive, but they weren't against it either. So from my outlook, keep in mind, you're talking about, so when I first started going to shows, my first show was Death in 1998. I'm 13 years old.
Yeah.
So you got your head up your ass. You're not really paying attention. But from my memory and my outlook, I think that my parents looked at it as, well, I'd rather them do this than dropping out of school and taking drugs.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure their mentality was, they never exactly said this, but it was kind of insinuated. Well, as long as you're not skipping school, which we weren't, and we all had jobs. You had a job since I was 13.
Yeah,
they're working, going to school. Worst thing, they're going to shows. Who cares? The worst incidents we had where they started to get kind of pissed, and it was just my dad. It was because of me. I was in middle school, and the principal, so middle school, I was 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah.
The principal called the house because he's like, dude, you realize your son's coming to school with shirts with cannibalism? Because I was wearing, every day I had to turn my shirt inside. It was one of them was butchered at birth. Another one was mortician, house by a cemetery.
Yeah.
I think I had SOD, speak English or die, where it says, I'm not racist, I hate everyone. Shit like that. I had to turn shit inside all the time.
I had to turn shirts inside out,
and
too.
So he called the house, and my dad didn't say anything to us. It was before we got home. He went through all our CD collections.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically, might have been Eric's personal copy, where he just went through stuff randomly. Look at it. Cannibal Corpse, Gallery of Suicide was out. Disgorged Chronic Corporate Infest cover was out. Like, he went through the booklets, and he just left it. Like, he didn't put it away. I guess, like, hey, I looked at your shit.
Okay.
And then we came home, and my mom's like, yeah, your dad told us what happened. The principal called. And he looked through she's like, yeah, you looked through your stuff. I'm like, okay, and he never said anything. To this day, never.
So that's not bad at all. It's not like they were devout Christians who were...
I mean, we were born and raised Catholic. We had to go to church.
And you hated that, I'd imagine.
I hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated it anytime I had to go.
Yeah, we had to go to that PSR shit and all that stuff too. And
that's what I was curious, because
that's where my view of hatred for religion grew, because I remember specifically asking my mom. I'm not even exaggerating. I was max 10 years old. I wasn't even in the metal at all.
Yeah.
This is had before we even heard the Sacred Reich tapes, because at 10 years old is when I heard Sacred Reich, first metal band.
Okay.
Our oldest brother left those tapes, even though I said he's not in the
I was going to ask you.
Heard Ignorance and Surf Nicaragua. So I think it was before that. And I specifically asked my mom some religious questions about God. Because I remember going I was like, this shit doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, it literally doesn't make sense, because the first thing that popped in my mind about religion was like, it literally says that you can't worship any other gods, you're going to hell. I'm like, well, we know, it's well known, over half the world, by far, is not Christian. Hence, they're worshiping another god or none. And if you don't, you're going to hell. What I was told by hell is, you hang and burn for all eternity. Now, honestly, even as bad as a child molester is, or somebody like Albert Fish, I don't think there's anything that bad till you should burn for all eternity, forever and ever and ever. So I don't know of any punishment that, nonetheless, not worshiping somebody to death, which, mind you, he didn't even give you the option to be born here anyways. So to me, that was the most sadistic form of religion, but they don't say it like that. And as a kid, you can't understand it. So once I heard Deicide, especially Search of the Light, and you read the lyrics, you're like, this is exactly what I was thinking. I just my mind was too young and immature to put into words.
Yeah.
And religiously and mindset wise, everything changed from there.
Okay.
And that's why, because part of it is going to some, my mom couldn't answer it.
That's how I felt too.
That's, the Lord just knows. Like, another thing I remember my mom saying as a very young kid, she's like, well, because the life is a test. And God knows everything. I'm like, so if he knows everything, he already knows what I'm going to do 10 years from now. So he already knows if I'm going to fail or pass that test. In my mind, it's like that old saying, what's that from that movie? He's like, he's sitting up on a cloud, just laughing his sick fucking ass off. Well, I can't remember what movie that's from. And it's like, yeah, that's it. If it's a test, but he knows everything, he even knows the future, what's he testing? He already knows the answer. That's
what I thought. And I had the same experience just when I remember being 10 years old, and I remember just thinking, you know what? Why would you? They're talking about sin, right from wrong, and I just think, well, what about a retarded guy, someone who can't tell the difference?
Yeah.
You're telling me he would go to hell if he did something wrong, even though he doesn't know it. And you're saying, but God made him that way. Why would God do it? You know, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. And the thing is, another thing, and then that's when I started to notice it for stuff like that, is that they bullshit their way out of it on the fly. As I get older,
100%.
They'll make some, well, no, but he'd be exempt. All right. Then you start pulling out examples. And then when you start bringing up some other things like abortion and shit like that. Yeah, the Bible's all against it. Whoa. Where in the fucking Bible does it say anything about that?
Yeah.
It's like, you're just making this shit up as you go. Because if technically speaking, if this was what you was given down to you by God, this book, this is what you have. You got that 2,000 years ago. No, what these 2013 topics, when they're bringing them up, that shit wasn't even a thing back then. You're literally just pulling crap out of your ass now.
Yeah.
And it becoming abundantly obvious.
That's how I felt too. So for me, metal was to get away from that.
100%.
And that's what I was curious for you guys. You had and that's what I'm most impressed with, is the way, because you guys work here full time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's an achievement.
Yeah.
It really is. There's not a lot of, obviously we could talk about legacy bands. You talk to Legacy, you talk to Glenn Benton, whatever dudes that have a career in this. It's few and far between.
Yeah, 100%.
And you have that. So you guys must have worked hard to do that.
Yeah, I did. But the thing is we definitely did. And so had a couple advantages. One, you got to remember it was 3 of us.
Yeah.
So we're each able to tackle it at 3 ends. We each kind of had our own department. Each person had their strengths and their weaknesses. And we didn't even talk about, we never sat down like, hey, you're doing this, hey, you're doing that. It's just, each person just picked it up and did it. So there was that. And also, too, starting anything off costs money. Like I said, we all had jobs. I'm the youngest out of the 3 of us. I was working at 13. So naturally, they were already working. So we had 3 sources of income to put into the business. So that's already a big advantage there.
Yeah.
Another huge advantage that nobody, and I've said it on the channel, is, dude, in the metal scene, everybody's a fucking jerk off knob. Unreliable. They can't even reply to an email.
Yeah. No, totally.
And I'm like, this is your competition. You're making it easy.
Yeah.
It's not hard to succeed when everybody else sucks. They don't know how to pack shit. You get it in, it's all fucked up. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, even like, and again, Chase gets pissed when I bring it up. I'm like, but facts are not attacks. And I emailed the guy politely, Van Records. Like, we can't even get a restock on those Attic records and CDs because he just doesn't reply. Yeah. He's just like, hey, we need 50 more CDs, 50 LPs of all 3 titles. It's like over a $2,000 order. No reply. Yeah. Why would you not reply to a $2,000 order? Like that doesn't even make any sense.
But I do think because this is something for the majority of the people involved in this, it's a hobby.
Yeah, but I mean, dude,
for you guys.
I don't give a shit if it's a hobby or not. When we're in our house, if you got all these records sitting behind you and you're like, oh, they're collecting dust, and someone's like, hey, I want to give you $2,000.
No, trust me, it's ridiculous to me too. But
I mean, I'm not doing that. But it's just like anybody that emails us with a $2,000 plus order, they get replied to first. That's top of that goes the front of the line. Like that's like who am I replying to first? Him or a guy that bought 1 new Nunslaughter CD? It's the guy with the $2,000 order.
Totally.
Like, what are you doing? That's common sense. But dude. And that's not to throw him on. That's the norm.
Yeah, I agree. That's my experience of dealing with it, dealing with shows, whatever. And that's the only way I could find peace with it is I go, I think people could get into this and people just want to have their way of going about it. And once it's most of the people doing this have a 9-to-5 job. Yeah, maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
So
and we did for years at the same time. We did
totally.
Both.
Totally. And you're working more than 9 to 5.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've been here a bunch. I know how you guys get down here. It's hard work here. So. Same thing. I think dudes it gets to a point where they go, there's money on I don't even care. I'm so overwhelmed. I don't even want to this is supposed to be fun to me. Yeah. Now there's so much work. It's not fun anymore. The whole point was that it was fun, but
that factor is, that is going to happen. Yeah. When it becomes, a profitable thing, 100%, that's going to happen no matter what, bands, anything. I could tell you right now, they make it enjoy the job. Cannibal Corpse doesn't look forward to the next tour.
Yeah.
They may not hate it, and I'm sure he's like, I'd rather do this than work in a factory.
Yeah.
But they're not looking forward to it.
This is a job for these guys.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, and I can't blame them. I wouldn't want to go on the road for 50 days either, snuggle up in a van with a bunch of other men.
With deathcore bands, with twin core bands.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want to do that. So I can't blame them.
It's a rough gig.
Yeah.
It is definitely a fucking rough gig.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play instruments or anything?
Just Craig, our younger brother, and he played in Crucified Mortals. He was a Nunslaughter for a while. He was on the Hex album and a bunch of other stuff. He was the only guy that played any instruments. I think because, we started Hell so young, too. And part of it was like, just didn't have time.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, when we started Hells, I was 16. So I'm in high school, going to working a job, plus doing that.
Yeah. So, I mean, just badass. I think that probably a lot of people couldn't keep up. And that's where you have some of the people that just don't even get the mindset of, you know what I mean? You're hustling, you're working this to work this. Yeah. You're busting balls.
Yeah.
There's people that just couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah, no. So no, so I never played, and I have no regrets. That's fine. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'd be very good at it anyways, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have the skill set for it.
Well, you guys clearly have a talent in expressing yourself in this way because there are not a lot of people that have a career in doing this. Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot of labels that are making shit happen.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of labels that can take stuff in. And again, everyone's been great with me. Plug these Hemdale shirts available here. You guys have,
we have the Hemdale designs, Hemdale shirts.
Yeah, I delivered all of them.
And then we did the exhumed Hemdale split repress.
Which came out awesome. I moved all my copies.
Yeah.
You guys probably only have a couple left.
Yeah, we don't have much left at all. I know all the colors are sold out. I think we got maybe 20 black vinyls and then CD, I think less than 100.
Awesome. Move fast, but you guys are fucking on top of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, some people just wouldn't be able to keep up with it.
No, of course not. And it's understandable to agree because again, if it was just one of us doing this, maybe we wouldn't be able to either.
So that was good. I had all these questions written out, and we got to most of it. Let me go through it. You know what I mean? I was going to ask you about that with trait. Yeah, fuck yeah, man. We didn't even have to. How much more time you got? 10 minutes?
Yeah, because Don's here. I got to shoot some stuff with him.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Went by quick. Where do you draw the line personally for death metal?
As far as
in your lineage, where do you? Because classic JDAWG is that's yo-yo. You're not a yo-yo guy, even though you got a yo-yo name.
Yeah,
JDAWG.
Yeah, and again, and I explained that too. Number one.
Yeah. Does yo-yo start with suffocation?
Crowd-wise, yeah.
Crowd-wise.
Yeah, music-wise,
you like suffocation?
Yo, yes, dude. I think Human Waste is one of the greatest death metal records ever written.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and I like Effigy a lot, and then I pretty much like most of them. Breeding the Spawn, I just think that the songs are half-assed on and not very memorable.
Yeah. But going on to the yo-yo. That's what I'm trying to. Where do you say, dude, I'm not fucking with this anymore?
Yeah, I'll be honest. The last Suffocation record I own, I think, is a self-titled. Is that the one directly after Souls of the Night?
I think so.
Okay, because the only comeback albums I own is Souls of the Night and the self-titled.
What band started it? Yo-yo. Where you started? Dying Fetus?
Again, I don't think they started it per se. I think it's the crowd. But as far as bringing it directly into their actual
Where
music,
do you draw the line? Yeah.
I was never a big Internal Bleeding fan, but it wasn't for that reason. I just didn't get into it. that much.
Yeah.
I thought the first album, the 7-inch, are pretty decent.
I like that you sat down with them.
Yeah, I thought it was decent, but it wasn't a line drawn. I never looked at it that way. It just didn't do much for me. As far as actual music, I don't know if anybody's directly coming to my mind. It was mostly the fan bases and some of the images, like, for example, Devourment, I do like Molesting Decapitated, but you look at the booklet, that Mike Majeski guy looks annoying as shit. He just looks like a poser.
You're thinking of these dudes coming up to you at shows with flat brim hats or something, and
yeah.
That's influencing.
But again, as far as directly in the music, I don't know if I have a line. I was like, it's either fucking rapping or it's not.
Yeah.
I was like, and I don't think Suffocation, Dying Fetus, I don't think any of those bands ever did. I mean, show me a part where you're like, dude, this is ghetto as fuck. Like, this is Limp Bizkit shit on Dying Fetus. I was like, where? I was like, you go to the crowd and half these idiots, I'm like, I just want to fucking go automatic weapons on. I was like, I'm not denying that. I was like, but in their music, where's the corn parts? Where's the, I was like, I don't care. Please play me one. I never heard anything. Unless you know something I don't.
Yeah.
So musically, I can't say that. Because to me, a lot of I think it'd be more like the metal core, not the death core. They do a lot of that shit, right?
Well, you're talking like the rappy stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, metalcore, new metal.
Yeah, but that stuff, I was like,
but we're talking about proto slam or brutal into that. That was what I was going to ask you. Where do you draw the line between brutal death and then now this is starting to get into slam? I think of those proto slam bands. I think of Suffocation, Pyrexia, Internal Bleeding as the start of that. I like it. You know what I mean? But I get what you're talking about, what you're saying, and especially if you're just saying it's not so much a divergence of musicality, it's a divergence of aesthetic, or it's a divergence of attitude.
I think I looked at it more like that, because to me, I was like, if I like the songs, because part of that was getting a little annoying too when I call that, even Kratos pulling, I was like, well, this part's kind of, he even said, like, he's like, dude, that general surgery stuff come back. He's like, I don't know, dude, it's a little wigger. I'm like, where?
And general surgery.
Yeah. I'm like, it was getting to the point, and he's just one example, a few other people. Yeah. I'm like, dude, that's just a catchy riff. Now you guys are getting carried away.
Yeah.
I was like, when I bring shit up, I was like, no, dude, this is legitimately, this is like rap.
Yeah.
So if it was just kind of catchy, because people say it's slamming, I grew up on that Dehumanized, the first record.
Yeah.
I just considered it a fucking brutal death metal record. But when people are like, no, it's a slam record, I guess I see where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. I didn't look at it like that, though.
Yeah.
But I get where they're saying that.
The same.
Yeah. Plus, not to mention, dude, you gotta remember 99, 2000 and shit. Again, I was 14, 15 years old, so maybe I wasn't paying attention. I don't recall anybody using that word, really, slam.
Yeah, and that's something more so that's been retroactively
I think people
applied.
Are using that because now they're like, hey, I could claim a title. For example, not to throw them on the bus, I ripped them enough, and obviously I got along with them really well in person. Internal Bleeding.
Yeah.
I did watch the Chris interview with on that Garza podcast, or at least most of it. And they're kind of like, we're the creators of slam and stuff like that. And who knows, whatever. It's like, when I heard about you, dude, I just heard that this is another New York death metal band. Yeah. Nobody said slam. It just seems like it's a term now. People like, oh yeah, like we're special. We did this because we're not Cannibal Corpse. We didn't create the Cookie Monster or whatever.
Yeah.
So we created something. We created slam. It's like, dude, you were just playing fucking what you thought was catchy death metal. Now there's a term for it. So you're coining that because in 1993, Internal Bleeding, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. He's not probably watching my shit.
Yeah.
Correct. Were you calling it slam death metal back then? If he was, if they got shirts that say fucking death metal slammers and they were in 93 saying that, I'm like, I stand corrected. Yeah. I was like, but I never heard that term until about 8 years ago.
Let it be said. Lightning round. Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
I had a great conversation with you. I didn't have to direct it. It flowed really well.
Oh, cool.
I opened the floor up to my viewers. Said, you got any questions for the dog?
Well, first off, what are your views? Is this YouTube or Instagram or
YouTube? So I've had Instagram for a long time. This is actually the first full length podcast I'm doing for the YouTube.
Okay. So how long have you been doing YouTube? Just a year or less than a year?
I have tons of live sets I've done. I've been doing some of the live bands and stuff. I did that Noxus, some of the Noxus music videos, stuff like that. So I have bands doing. I got a bunch of bands in front of green screens where I engineered it and stuff. Okay. But this is the first time I'm doing the sit down podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So
you had the whole setup of shit. I figured you've been doing this for fucking tons.
I've filmed stuff before, but this is the first time doing the actual sit down.
Okay. Cool.
Lightning round. Talk about your workout routine, real quick.
Generally speaking, so I do cardio pretty much 5 to 7 days a week. First thing in the morning, that's how I start my day off. I wake up, I literally brush my teeth, and I do 30 to 45 minutes of cardio. And then in the afternoon, 4 days in the afternoon, I weight train. Right now, my split is day 1 is chest and shoulders. Day 2 is back. Day 3 is legs. Day 4 is arms. It's set up like that for a lot of my reasons for just where my development is and also where my injury rate is. So, for example, like back and legs are primarily separated by at least a full day off because my low back is all fucked up. So, like, it's a structure around. So, like, if somebody's come up to me, hey, bro, you want to get a workout together? No, not really. Number 1, I train alone. Number 2, you're probably not going to follow my program. Number 3, if we are working out together, you better be someone I like and you're following my shit because I'm not going in and I'm not doing deadlifts. Because there's no reason. I was like, I'm going to fucking put myself in a goddamn wheelchair. It's structured about these movements I do because I know they're not going to fuck me up any further than I already am. But now, don't get me wrong, if fucking Hottie Chupon or Ronnie Coleman or something, hey, bro, want to catch a workout? I'm doing whatever the fuck you want. Yeah, so I was like, those are legends, pro bodybuilders, of course. Or if any IFBB pro that I follow asks me for a workout, I was like, I'm going in and whatever the fuck he's doing, I'm sucking up, buttercup, I'm doing it. But if somebody like in the scene or somebody, like just a metal guy who likes to work out, you want to catch a workout? No, bro. No. Yeah.
Are you natty?
Depends what your definition of fucking natty is. Michael Hearn's natty, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm as natty as he is. But again, actually, I'll use the term. It's funny as Lee Priest said it. He had said in an interview because he was very open about talking about drugs and shit like that.
Yeah.
And they just point blank, he's got a seminar. This is when it was very taboo to talk about it.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about it. This is like 95 or something. And they asked him, are you all natural? Whatever. He's like, what bodybuilder is? Like it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Like you got to understand, like if you're trying to become this superhero look, people think, oh, steroids are cheating. You realize the human body can't get to that without them, right? It's hormonal.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about testosterone and people think it's so bad, I was like, you realize testosterone is safer than smoking weed, right?
Yeah, and it's
a natural hormone. Your body literally produces it right now. Without it, you're going to be unhealthy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's a thing called TRT as you get older to bring your levels back up to where you're 19, 18 because they decline. That's the main steroid use. That's the backbone.
Yeah.
Bodybuilders are just taking a shitload of it.
Yeah.
It's like, so yes, at super high levels, does it have some risks? It does, but most of them are fixable.
So does a fucking deadlift, though.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But not to mention, but the thing
Imagine if someone told you, I don't exercise. I could get hurt.
I could tell you this right now, and it blows my mind, is, there's a lot of guys that like ride motorcycles, just like that, in the metal scene. If you're even at a professional level about pro bodybuilding, taking all the drugs in the world, riding a motorcycle every day is way more risky. Way more. Do the statistics of how many guys die in a motorcycle crash over people dying on performance enhancing drugs. I can tell you it's way less than motorcycle crashes. But nobody would think like, oh, that's crazy you're doing that. I'm like, you're taking a way more risky hobby.
Well, I think just the intentionality is key. And you got that. You know what I mean? You have this routine. You have that whatever. I do think if you're going to run in there, juice yourself up. You don't know what you're doing. You want to go to that lift to impress someone. You could be put on your ass.
Yeah.
100%. You don't know what you're doing. You're doing it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
You're not being intentional.
Yeah. I think most people that work out or they get into taking the drugs like that, they are doing it for the wrong reason. They're doing it for like track girls. I'm like, first off, girls don't give a shit about that.
It's guys that bring it up.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to get guys.
You're going to get a bunch of guys
so I hope you're
and no girls.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that, or they just, cause it's like, they think that it's going to help their self-esteem I'm like, dude, that's a mental problem. You need to go see a fucking therapist. That's not hey, let me juice myself up. I'm like, no, you have mental problems, dude. And because think about it, like this is a temporary thing. Let's just say you can get as big as Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman. You can be a pro bodybuilder. Okay, well that's temporary. You can't do that until you're 50 years old. You just flat out can't. Yeah. So that's going to eventually go away. Okay, well when you no longer have that, guess what? Those mental problems are all coming back. Totally. You're just slapping a Band-Aid on it if that even fixes the problem for you mentally. I would first fix yourself upstairs first if that's what you should need to be doing it because you enjoy doing it. Again, it's just like metal.
Yeah.
What you do is you treat it as a hobby because you love doing it.
Yeah.
If you have to talk yourself into going to the gym, you have absolutely no business taking drugs. None. Yeah. None whatsoever. You should be looking like that motherfucker like Disney World. And in which case, the drugs are probably going to be appealing because you're going to be able to go further than your body can actually go. And then do it as smart as you can. You better be fucking monitoring your health. You better have some money. Because it costs money to monitor your blood work, get that done. If you're going to need medications because your blood pressure and shit, that's the things you're going to have to watch out for. That's going to cost money. You're going to have that money, so you better have that in hand. So if you're some fucking broke ass, 20-year-old living in a mom's house and you don't make a minimum wage, it also ain't for you.
Badass advice, I think.
No.
Favorite SpongeBob character?
I don't know any of them. I don't know any of the names. I know SpongeBob.
I think some people said you're most like Larry.
Which one's Larry?
The bodybuilder.
I didn't know there was a bodybuilder.
There's a bodybuilding lobster.
I didn't think that show was manly enough to have bodybuilding.
Ever kissed a man?
I'm proud to say I never have. Dude, I've never even hugged my own dad to date. That's a true story. Lindsay thinks that's weird, my wife. So you've never given your dad a hug? No.
Is he still around?
Fuck yeah, my parents are still married.
Still time?
Huh?
There's still time.
I just did. He's like me, man. Like I'm not like you just know where you stand, dude. You know what I mean? And it's just we're kind of like we don't really show our feelings. You know how you feel. You don't need to say it. You know what I mean? Totally. And it's in the times of you show your concern in times when it matters. Like if an emergency happened, are you going to be there? Or are you like, oh, I'm busy, bro?
That's a lot more meaningful than anything else.
You just saying shit or telling me something that you're my party buddy, my drinking buddy, that means jack shit to me. Because those people always fall off anyways.
Yeah. No, totally. And everyone's your friend when things are going good. Correct. And no one's there when people are, when shit hits the fan.
And that's not,
you can tell who's your real friend.
100%, yeah.
Final one. You got a top 5 favorite death metal we could leave it off on?
Top 5, are you talking about bands?
Albums.
Oh, just death metal only?
Just death metal only.
Yeah. Tomb of Mutilated, Serpents of Light. Again, I'm only going to pick one album by each band.
Yeah, you can only pick one album from each band, too.
Ultras of Madness. Who am I forgetting? I'll go with Like an Ever-Flowing Stream. Let's throw these here, too. And it is one of my favorites. Let's throw in Hell's Holy Fire.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that too. Let's throw that in there because it's hard to make a top 5.
No, I know.
Because because so many are tied.
No, and no specific order or whatever. Yeah. For anyone who cares about mine, just on there, I went with I love Demi Like Nespithe. I love Cryptopsy Non Servile. My favorite's Mental Funeral. Then I got to go with Symphonies of Sickness, just for the influence it had on me playing.
Cool.
Badass fucking podcast. Yeah, badass advice.
When I shout out, when I do my next recording video, probably tomorrow, not the Don one, unless it gets brought up organically. Yeah. I'll just give it a shout out. Say it.